Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Before we begin, a couple quick announcements. If you are interested in signing up for the private classes that I do offer, the way to do that is to go to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. This is the only way that you can get in on the classes that I offer. I do it through the Patreon. I do 3 private classes every single month on Patreon for Patreon members only, in addition to a group ritual. This past Saturday evening, we did a really good Kali Ma ritual. A lot of you guys got back to me with some really good responses and results, so I'm glad to hear that worked for you. But that's the way to get in, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. Tier 3 gives you access to all the private classes, even the ones in the archive. I just want to make that clear. When you join, you not only get access to the classes moving forward from the time you join, but you get access to all the classes in the archive, and it's a lot of content. As I said, I go a lot more personalized, a lot more in-depth on the Patreon classes. There's also work and rituals. It's really for that individual that wants to take it up a notch, take it to the next level, and really grow and develop their path to self-mastery. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different readings: Clepothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which is, something always we should be trying to uncover and master, the hidden or the shadow self. Pointing you in the right direction of what kind of ritual work you should be doing, as opposed to being all over the place. It gives you a little more sense of understanding of yourself and a little more personal order out of your chaos, okay? Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to book a spiritual reading or a consultation. The 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, that is available, up and running. It is in full effect. You can sign up and register for that right now. That'll take place the 19th to the 22nd of October. There will be classes, workshops, speakers, presenters, group ritual on Friday and Saturday evening, followed by a group dinner, some socializing, hanging out, having some fun. And then I cap off the event on Sunday the 22nd with a Q&A session, question and answer class from noon to 4 p.m. Right? So if you need information on that, shoot me an email. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, all one word. Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook. Also, keep in mind all this new content is being uploaded to the official Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the Patreon page link to sign up for classes, the social media pages, my link tree, all of that is in the description box of the video you are currently watching right now. All right, I want to talk about something that I've talked about a lot on and off over the years: music, magic, and time travel. Okay? Music, magic, and time travel. A lot of you guys are in the Patreon. You know you're doing this with your shadow work classes. I've talked about this on YouTube videos over the last few years, off and on. But this tutorial is we're just gonna focus on that. Music, as we know, is a very powerful tool. It's very influential in our lives. It incites and carries so many different frequencies and energies that tap into our emotions and psyche. I look at it almost, it's the soundtrack. Like, your life is a movie, and the music that you select to listen to is a soundtrack to your movie, because you select music that you like for a particular reason. So a little exercise that I've shared, or a practice that I've shared openly and in more in depth on the Patreon page in the shadow work classes, is an effective way for you to use music ritualistically and magically. Okay? I've suggested many times for people, and you can include all genres of music in this. Like me, myself, yes, I have certain genres I'm more connected to than others. I love hip hop, real hip hop, not this new shit. R&B, but I also have an affinity for some music. I love classic rock. I love old school heavy metal. I like classical music. I love ambient music. Even some of the 80s, top 40 music, as they call it, pop music, stuff we grew up on, like Culture Club and, the Police and, shit like that. I mean, I have a very wide variety and taste of music. Classic rock, love classic rock. So I listen to all of this. And all of it is part of my childhood, my upbringing, and my life, because I've connected, with all those genres of music for one reason or the other, right? It's just part of the upbringing. I even love doo-wop music. That's what my father actually belonged to a street corner doo-wop singing song and put out a 45 record back in the day. So, and that's when my parents grew up listening to, harmony and doo-wop music. I listen to that stuff too. I mean, I'm pretty vast with it. But a little exercise you can do. Create, now obviously we have all these, platforms and websites that you can download music or have subscriptions to, whether it's Spotify. I love Amazon Music because if you have Amazon Prime, you have a vast access to a library of music. And I can find, for the most part, might be a couple things here and there I can't find, but for the most part, I can access a lot of the music I listen to from way back in the day to the present day. And what I've suggested for people to do, you could do this by decade, you could do it by genre, or however you feel. Create a soundtrack of music that you listen to for your life. Start with as far back as you can remember as a child. So if you're a 60s or a 70s baby, start with the decade you were born, work your way up through the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, and the 20s, right? And you'll see the progression of it. And once you've created these, and however you separate them, but it kind of should be, to an extent, in some type of chronological order in your own personal way, however you see fit. I'm just throwing suggestions out there. And then what I want you to do, reflect on, as you go through decade by decade, list by list, and you could do this a multitude of ways, and I'm going to share with you the ways I do it. I do this while I'm driving a car. Could be just driving here and there or taking a long trip. It could just be sitting and relaxing in the house, right? But the most effective time I use it regularly throughout the week, all the time, that I ritualize this practice is when I'm exercising in the gym. Like, not right now, I'm going to 9 rounds. 9 rounds is just 30 minutes, bang it out nonstop. So I don't have no headphones on, no music. That's just straight, hardcore, intense circuit training. But I'm saying when I'm in the gym at Planet Fitness, for an example, you could even do this walking in the park. If you like to walk in the park with your earbuds on, there's a multitude of ways you can do this. I do this three or four times a week in the gym, every week. Play that list. And it's multitasking too. So I'm exercising, I'm trying to better myself, but I'm in such deep ritualistic thought as I'm listening to the music. Okay, and it's taking me back to key points in my life. The music is going to help you understand key points in your life. So, like, all right, for an example, been listening to a lot of Big Daddy Kane, right? And I connect with Kane, Long Live the Kane, the first album, and the second album, and going up to Taste of Chocolate to like 91. That's a critical period in my life, 88 to 91, 87 and really 86 to 91. But 88 to 91 is probably where all of that connects me to really starting to explore a path of spirituality. Though at that time, it wasn't this present day path of the left-hand path of the occult, but it reminds me of encountering the 5% Nation and the 120, just the beginnings or the early stages of my career. A lot of stuff was going on in my life at that time. I was definitely going through serious transition and change, reflection on relationships, girls or women. All of this you're reflecting on. But not only are you reflecting on it, you are putting things into perspective. And a lot of things come up, maybe that happened when you were young and dumb and maybe you didn't understand, etc. And it's very therapeutic and healing. And you can actually go back in time, even if you're ritualizing it a step further, say you're sitting and relaxing, you could actually take yourself back to those specific moments. And as I said, how music is so powerful. And I do this test all the time. People say, name a song that goes back a while that you like, that goes back an X amount of years that you constantly still to this day listen to. And somebody will name a song, and watch how this works. And then the first thing I'll tell them, I'll say, well, where were you the first time you heard that song? Or at what point in your life, roughly, do you remember? Yeah, that's what they remember it. Oh, I was such and such. I was living here. Oh, man, I remember that. Oh, I was at a party. Sometimes it could be so graphic, you can remember the exact year, the exact event or place you at. It could be so vivid, you can remember what you had on. You can remember who was around. I mean, it could go so in-depth in detail that you can recollect all this. Confirming the power of the mind. Confirming what I'm saying for many years now, that this aspect of linear time is an illusion. Past, present, and future is all the now. It's just like sometimes people say, I remember a song when I was growing up, when I was little, that you like it because your mother liked it. Maybe your mother played it around the house on the weekends while she was cooking. And you hear that song and it reminds you of your mother in the kitchen cooking. You can see the kitchen. You can see your mother. Sometimes people even describe ritualizing it so intently they could even smell the food that their mother made. Confirming what I've been saying for years, use all of your faculties to communicate with the spirit world, including the sense of smell, touch, taste, feel. All of that carries vibrational frequencies. Because music is that. It's harmonics, tones, vibrations, and frequencies. So those tones, vibrations, harmonic, and frequencies are unlocking your psyche and your spiritual faculties. And this is how you're able to connect. It's even like slow jams, love music, how emotionally we can invest it in remembering certain love songs, whether it connects us to a specific sexual encounter or maybe a very heavy relationship we might have went through in the past. There could be a soundtrack to that. I know Keith Sweat, right? I can recollect back in the day in the early 90s, I would probably say my first, everybody had their first crush, heartbreak. Not because it ended bad. She wound up moving out of New York, but that was probably my first, I guess what you would call super crush love. That was my first love. I was about 19. It's teenage, young boy shit. But the soundtrack to that whole relationship was Keith Sweat, because that's what we used to groove to a lot. Babyface. You can tap into that music and just remember and reflect not just to remember and reflect, but to help understand the emotions that you have been harboring within. And harboring is not just a bad thing. Things you've been bottling within and maybe have created your mentality and your attitude a certain way. So there's healing. Not all of it's going to be pleasant, because when you're doing this type of work, shadow work, etc., not all of it's pleasant. So it's going to conjure up, some of this music will connect you to bad periods or areas in your life where maybe you were struggling. You were going through something real tough or hard, or maybe it was an abusive relationship, a bad marriage, whatever. But it's going to help you uncover the hidden shadow self and work on mastering yourself. And it's a beautiful thing. And then some of the fun stuff is when I recollect on songs, I'm born in 71, but some of the songs from the late 70s, mid to late 70s and very early 80s always take me back, to my childhood when everything was good. My parents were both healthy and vibrant. Even though, look, we struggled. We was on the food stamps and the welfare, but I never knew I was poor until I got older. My parents always did a magnificent job of creating the best family environment and household. So I got a lot of memories of songs, driving in the car, my father listening to. My father used to smoke Marlboros. There was something, every time I hear certain songs, there's something about when a cigarette is first lit, only when it's first lit. I used to like the smell of that as a kid. I don't know why, but when my father would be in the car and light a cigarette, I just loved that smell. After a while, when it burns, I can't stand the smell of it. But certain songs, I can literally smell my father lighting up a cigarette in the car. Certain songs, certain groups. It takes me back, like holiday music. That's a whole nother ritual in itself. As you guys know, I'm big on Christmas. I can play that old school classical Christmas, and I ritualize that every year during Christmas and the holidays. I literally sit in front of my electric fireplace, because I'm down here in Florida now. I don't have the real fireplace, but it's almost just as good. And I'll do it late at night. All the Christmas lights on, the Christmas decorations, the house decorated, house is quiet, and I can tap in, especially the song Silent Night, Holy Night, my mother's favorite Christmas song, or Christmas carol, whatever you want to call it, and I can summons her presence. And I will sit there just with the ambiance of all the Christmas decorations and energy, and I can sit there in the silence and darkness of the house late at night, and I can summons, easily manifest, and call my mother to me and have a dialogue with her through the power of Christmas music. Because the sounds, the tones, the vibrations, and the frequency of it, because music is harmonics. Everything, what we're calling the universe and the multiverses, that glue that keeps it together is the harmonics. And you're connected to that. You must understand that. Why do you think I'm big on mantras, chanting, frequencies, vibrate? All of that is kit. Why do you think one of the 7 Hermetic principles is the doctrine of vibration? That's connected to it, right? Vibration, polarity, all those things are connected to it. You need to understand that connectedness and how it's connected to you. And this is why music is so impactful. Shit, you can play certain music and look how it automatically affects your emotions and your energy. Certain music you listen to, it can make you feel very aggressive. It can make you feel very warrior-like, right? You can listen to, I remember back in the day what they used to call gangster rap, right? Or political rap. I remember I used to listen to political rap or conscious rap. I remember how hype and amped up I used to get listening to Public Enemy. So when I throw on Fear of a Black Planet, or when I throw on It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back album, it takes me back to them rebel days. Again, it takes me back to a period where I would just start classifying myself as awakening. It takes me back to all those house parties, going to some of those clubs back in the day, though we did more parties than clubs back in the day. Remember going in there with, with the Flav clock on, the PE, pendant that we used to wear, with the man in the bullseye, in the gun's bullseye, and how we used to go in the clubs and just get amped up and just express ourselves by dancing and jumping around. It was a form or an outlet of at that time of us releasing some of that energy. And it felt fucking good. And I can tap into that years later and still be back in that fucking moment. Literally, I'm not talking about figuratively. This is the power of magic. Motherfuckers don't really understand what real magic is because they got that fucking bullshit interpretation on the internet, and wave your wand and Harry Potter and fix all. This shit is real because it's all connected to the power of your mind. People understand the power of your mind. And that's why I said you must be able to work magic any place at any time, any fucking where. That's what a real sorcerer, magician, occultist, black adept, whatever the fuck you want to call it, has the ability to do. He or she. Okay? And music is such a ritualistic tool and a weapon in our arsenal as magicians. It's powerful. It affects the fucking world, good and bad. Now, there's some bad parts to it because, unfortunately, I don't want to sound like an old grumpy head, but I got to put it out there. Look, everybody has their own generation. I'm just not connected to it. Maybe I don't understand. I get it. My time is past, right? My generation is past. Okay, as far as when we're talking about music, it's just I can't get with this new shit. This mumble crap, this trap music. It's just the problem I have with it, and it's not hating. I gotta understand. I come from an era of lyricism. You understand? Substance, content, skills, production. It's not there. All the shit sounds the same. Everybody sounds the damn same. Everybody's trying to mumble. Everybody's trying to mimic what Drake is doing with the sing-along, then following it with the mumble stuff. Every beat sounds the same. Every song has the same bullshit in it about, how they slinging and they hustling. And if it's not that, all the female MCs are rapping about how they got the best pussy in the world and, buy me shit and my pussy's so good it's gonna make you want to buy me I just can't get with it, man. I get it, but I don't. And I do think music is being weaponized against us. That's a whole nother story. I think I'll do a part 2 to this music shit. I'm feeling this shit today. But I don't want to sound like an old grumpy head, but I got to put it out there. Look, hey, I respect these dudes that are out there hustling. Hey, they're making their money. Somebody buying it, so I can't hate on that. But I also, just like you could have an opinion, a younger person could have an opinion on the generation before. That's just my opinion on it. But I do believe at some point we have to come together on that, because there can be a learning point from both sides of the coin. Another healing tool in reference to music magnets, to get back to the point, I don't want to get sidetracked because I want to turn it into that. You can, a lot of stuff like that we talk about on the Hip Hop Occult show, right? You can find out more info on that with the Hip Hop Occult show, right? So also, a good practice for you to also do, right? And this is very critical and important because this creates healing energy. You will find when you listen to music from your era, it regenerates and rejuvenates and heals you at the cellular level. It can actually reverse the aging process. Because when you're listening to music from your time period, your generation, as I said before, that frequency, that sound and that tone is taking you back to that point, and you're tapping into that energy of your youth. That's the magical part of it. It keeps you young, vibrant, and it keeps that healing process flowing. Do it and you'll see. Do it regularly and ritualize it and you will see. Now, I will also tell you, it could be the reverse process. When you're listening to music outside of your generation, like a lot of the new music now I can't connect with. It just, I don't feel it. And it can kind of, to an extent, make you feel a little bit old. Now, I know some people, you got some old heads that just don't want to let it go. You know, the old creepy dude in the club that still hasn't accepted the fact that they're a certain age and they want to still try to dress young and you know, and try to be up on some of this music. And look, that's your prerogative, your opinion, but sometimes there's something deeper going on there. Sometimes you're fighting something that you can't fight. We all know that, right? We've all seen the creepy old guy in the club, right? The guy who just still dressing like he's 20 and he's like 50, 60 years old. You know, that guy. You don't want to be that guy, okay? You don't want to be that guy, you know. But my point being is, again, if you start to listen to and tap in on this level, you're going to connect. So if you're tapping in and you're ritualizing this music and you're listening to stuff growing up as a teenager or a young kid in the 80s or whatever, you're connecting to that vibrant energy and youth and health, and power that you had, and you're able to really tap in and feel that. And you can use that aspect of it too to create a form of mental, emotional, and physical healing. Okay? Look, even with the slow jams in the music, look, when I reflect back, man, I've been fortunate and blessed to have a lot of good, beautiful women in my life. I mean, yeah, some of the shit was crazy. Don't get me wrong. Like, we've all had some crazy shit. But man, when I reflect back and look, I've been blessed. Even some of the relationships were painful, like the one I mentioned. You know, and then the girl, you know, you even reflect back on shit vividly. The girl I lost my virginity to. We were both virgins. Can you imagine two virgins trying to lose their virginity to each other when they're like 13 years old, 14 years old, whatever? But I'm just saying, when I reflect back, when I listen to slow jams, and I reflect back on all the relationships and the women I've been with over the years, and I want to make it sound, you know, I want to make it sound nasty, but I've been blessed, man. And every one of them served a purpose when I look back and reflect. Every one of them taught me something about myself and how I feel when it comes to this thing called love and relationships. And they all affected me and touched the core of my being to a certain degree, but on different levels. I may not have fully understood it then, but now, as I'm putting things into perspective, as I'm getting older in life, yeah, I see it clear. Picture's clear. So I look at it, man, blessed. You understand what I'm saying? Regardless of how it turned out, how it panned out. You know? So, look, I'm going to say this as I start to wrap this up and get to my destination. The best thing I can tell you, if you, and again, you don't have to do it the exact way I'm telling you, but if you somehow, in some shape, form, or fashion, use this practice and ritualize it the way I'm describing, And whatever tweaks, adjustments you got to make to it, do this. I guarantee you will find this to be a very effective, powerful way to do ritual work on the path of the occult, left-hand path, path of self-mastery, whatever you want to call it. Trust me, people, it works. The power of music, magic, time travel, and healing. Okay? Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm approaching my destination. I don't know, I might see how I feel heading to my office after this. I'm going to do another video. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's more to talk about this. We'll see. But anyway, if you need to reach out to me, my contact email address, the direct link to the podcast. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual consultation or a reading, if you also need information on the journey of the Black Adept Conference, my email, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of that is in the description box of this video you are currently watching. That's going to wrap it up for me. I will see you guys on the next video. Infernal blessings.